Welcome to another Friday Facts video. This time it's about drowning in fluids. It's number 430. Today we once again dive headfirst into the world of fluids. So they had another post back in June 416. I will quickly show that. No, that's Glebber. Let's look at it. So it's about how they made the fluid throughput basically infinite or very quick. And they also show things with the debug visualization. So that's all old news. And now they had a in-office LAN party right after they revealed this old change, and they determined that it was too easy. They had huge pipelines everywhere that snagged through the entire base. And yeah, they only used fluid trains out of habit rather than because they were actually better. And I guess they think that is a problem, which I sort of agree with. I would like to be able to use fluid trains without a drawback. Having these pipelines everywhere just seems a bit cheaty. So I guess they call them Omni pipes, which is the current version of how the pipes work, or how they work before they introduce the fix here. Yeah, and they say pumps only ever restrict the throughput in this version of the pipe implementation. And of course you would also want to use pumps when you want to take apart certain sections or distinguish between different factories, like only crack heavy oil if there is enough heavy oil, and only if there is space in the light oil pipes or something like that. You could imagine that being a condition that you would implement with wire and storage tanks, for instance, and then attach a pump to only pump through the liquid if it's necessary to do so. So then they talk about the importance of visual feedback, and that belts are very good at visual feedback. It's a bit less good with pipes. To also spot the bottlenecks. And yeah, they were debating whether they wanted to add a limitation to the fluid system again, because the limitation also needs to be easy to understand and easy to deal with. And now they introduce pipeline extents, which is a constraint for any pipeline to be contained within a 250 by 250 tile area. I think they might also change this to 256 to make it align with the chunk sizes. And if any pipe system is longer or bigger than 250 by 250, it will stop and show these warnings. And this also foreshadows the pipe visualization already. I can show that in a moment. This is actually a video. And the solution would be to place pumps in these locations, but you can see that in a moment. And there you also could see the yellowish line for the light oil. And I guess that is shown while you are holding a fluid related item. So the heavy oil is red, the light oil is dark yellow or orange, the sulfuric acid is yellow. Not sure if we see anything else right there. I guess this might be there in the corner, the purple petroleum gas. Yeah, basically when holding a fluid-related entity, the game displays connection visualizations. It shows where the pipe is going, basically. And you can also hover over a certain pipe to only show its respective colors and where the lines are going. It will also show arrows telling you how large the pipeline is. I wonder where that would be in this case. Is this in this video? Oh yeah, you can see here arrows. That's very tiny. Arrow to the left with 237 meters, and up there an arrow showing 35.3 meters. I guess this pipe continues to the left somehow and then up somewhere to have that extent of 35 meters that way. I guess this just means that this plus 13 would be about here, and that's why there needs to be a pump to fix this issue. I hadn't seen these arrows when I first read through the Friday Facts here. And as a final cherry on top, you can also enable a toggle to see pipelines on the map. So yeah, you can see here the red. I don't know if this is just a broken thing and whether that is heavy oil. Green might be lubricant, or I don't know what it would be. Not sure if they actually use the colors for the pipes as they usually would appear, like purple might then be, or pink might be petroleum. Not sure which of them might be light oil. Okay, there's orange, I suppose. And there's yellow for sulfuric acid and blue for water and white for steam. Here you can see this is a nuclear build. And this is from the mod author of Pipe Visualizer, which is also Rhaegar. Rhaegar wrote the current Friday Facts. You can see here this is the nuclear power plant used. And you can see all these pipes of water going around the nuclear plant and these storage tanks in the corner. And that is exactly what you can see here. These are, I think, the heat exchangers. And the pipes are going to the water there. And then you can also see this. This screenshot will be relevant next. I mean, I want to show you where this actually appears in the Friday Facts. You can see the station here with crude oil coming in. And then this is just the refineries to refine the oil into heavy, light oil and petroleum gas. And above there is a cracking plant for light oil into petroleum. And you can see that right here. That's basically this in zoomed in. And without the machines being covered in the color, which you can see here with the orange tint. And there's even a different version. I think this is still the same build where there's white and orange and other colors. I think this would make clear where certain things are going. Basically the white or light gray is the crude oil, orange is the light oil, green is lubricant, pink is petroleum, red is heavy oil, and so on. There's also sulfuric acid. And this is the debug mode for the fluids, so you can see the content of each pipe, but I guess I will go back up again. So when you build any individual setup, like any kind of cracking plant for light oil or any plastic factories, you don't really need to worry about the 250 by 250 extent border that they introduced. And I guess it's only relevant if you want to connect large distances within the factory. But then you have to use pumps in between, and it is shown where exactly the pump needs to be built. Here, for instance, or where a pump could be built. I guess you could also, depending on where the pipeline is starting, build one here or one there. You can also have multiple pumps, which would ensure that if you extend the pipeline network into one direction, then you are still safe. So now you need to worry about the directionality of the system, because pumps only go one way. But you can of course try to have two pumps opposite each other to just pump things one way and the other way back, just to try to go back to what they had before, basically a bidirectional system. But I'm not sure if this would work, because the pumps have been nerfed to 1200 fluid items per second. I'm not sure if they are fluid items or just what unit they use. So this is 10 times smaller than it was before. But they increased the fluid wagon size to 50,000. This would basically be 2 storage tanks. Previously it was just 1 storage tank. And I remember when they had 3 different parts in a fluid wagon, when you could have 3 different fluids even. I guess that had 75,000 storage capacity. But yeah, the water expands to 10 steam. I think it is 1:1 at the moment. Or 10:10, I'm not sure. what the input and output numbers are exactly. So basically you need to transport less water. With these settings, the loading of a fluid wagon will take about 14 seconds if you use 3 pumps, which is the maximum, I think, at least the 3 pumps. But you can increase the fluid throughput with quality on the pumps. Just might mean that it takes a bit longer for the loading, but the trains will still have to travel a lot, so if you need to travel maybe a minute or half a minute to the place where the train is going, then 40 seconds is still okay compared to just below 1 second, but maybe that was a bit unrealistic to fill a fluid wagon that fast. Okay, the water to steam ratio change makes it more possible to supply power or nuclear setups using fluid wagons or even water barrels. I wonder whether power setup means the coal or steam engine power plants, the normal ones that you have at the start. So this change doesn't affect the power consumption output of any machines, they just consume 10 times less water to make the same amount of steam. That's good. Basically, this makes the whole choice between large pipelines and fluid trains more doable, so you can actually make an informed decision rather than being sort of forced into large pipelines just by the game mechanics that make large pipelines much easier before. Basically now it's less magical. Before it was just fluid that magically appeared at the other end of the pipeline. So now the output rate used to be unlimited, but it is now inversely proportional to the fullness ratio of the sink. So I don't really know the internals of how the fluid system works, obviously. And this seems to be an even more complicated sentence. But I think what all of this means is that the more full a thing already is, the smaller the throughput into that thing will be. So if the refinery, for instance, is already 90% full, then the fluid flow will be smaller than if it were only 10% full. And probably the same is true for storage tanks and a further distant pipe. You can also see in this GIF that the refinery here will start to work first once the next loop appears. So the oil will come in and then this will start first and then the other ones will start. I'm not sure if they needed to start at the same time or if this was a skip in the GIF. So it also says this, that the fluid oscillates in the pipe a bit. I guess this might just mean that some petroleum will come in every time this cracking is going on, and then it will flow away, so it will go up a bit and down a bit every now and then. Okay, never quite done. The pipeline system, the pipeline extends system and balance tweaks were in place for the LAN party, and the reception to them was pretty positive. So they actually could try it out with the 100 people that already had the chance to start the new version. It has been a long journey to get here, and there's still so much to do and so much to tell you about. What you see is the system as it will be when 2.0 launches, but I will continue tweaking and iterating on it in the future, says Raygard. I would also like to take a moment to thank everybody for their exhaustive feedback on the previous post. I think that means the 416 post. That was also written by Raygard, so I guess Raygard is responsible for the fluids. Rest assured, I read every single comment, even if I don't respond to most of them. Your passion is a huge part of what makes Factorio such a great game. As always, pressurize your thoughts and pump them into the usual places. So yeah, I really like the dedication of the developers and how much they listen to the community, and that they're also not shy to just admit that the solution the community suggested is better, as it happened with the stack inserter and the bulk inserter. But yeah, I guess we will see less of this and more of fluid trains again. I guess we will still see something like this with maybe some ingenious pump setup, but hopefully factories will still be quite diverse in how they work with fluids. And we also get the pipe visualizer now in the 2.0 base game. I think this will just be a quality of life update and you don't have to pay for that. But I personally would recommend that everybody buys the Space Age expansion, as that seems to be a lot of fun. And I guess that's it for me looking at the Friday Facts this week. Thank you for watching and have a good next week.